Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of In Conversation With series of talks. Today, this Friday, I will be in conversation with Juri Roverato, choreographer, dancer and writer who graduated in philosophy, and he lives in Padova in Italy. Hello Juri.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome.
So,
Juri, before we start, I would just like to say to everyone who is watching and listening to our conversation, how we will do the conversation today. Because Juri and I, we decided to do this one differently. Because when I wrote to Juri to ask him if he would like to be part of this series, he said yes. And he suggested that we do it in written form. So we were writing to each other over the last 2 weeks or something like this. I was sending questions, Juri was sending me answers, and it was very interesting process for both of us. We were also exchanging about how it feels and everything. And then this is how we will also do it today for you, which means that we will actually read our correspondence that we had in the last 2 weeks. And then we also, a few days ago, when we were thinking how to share this script that we created, we thought that we can start. To make it more fun, we can start with me reading my questions that I was sending by email to Juri, and Juri would read his answers. And in one moment during the conversation, we will switch roles, which means that Juri will then be reading the questions, my questions that I was sending to him, and I will be reading answers that Juri gave to me by email to these questions. That's how we are going to do this conversation. So then maybe we can start with the first question that I sent. Because maybe before we start, I forgot to say, I mentioned that Juri is choreographer, dancer and writer. And for me, this was also something new that I learned about Juri, that he's also writing, because I knew him more from this contemporary dance context where we met and exchanged. And for me, this was interesting. So my first question was, what title do you have in your mind for the book?
I'm not sure, but I think the title will be between prayer and outbreak. The gift. And I like it very much for now, but I don't know if it will be the definitive one.
Could you tell me about which philosophical ideas you bring in the book and from which perspective you build the narrative in the book?
I think all Europeans have always hoped to be the center of the world since 1000 before Christ, more or less. They were the only ones who had philosophical ideas and the true religion. They stopped to be the most advanced people in the world. Some of them propose that they were human and consider the other as inferior. Europeans began to expand from the 6th century, and Europeans thought they were the master of world. They imposed the way of living, their way of thinking. If natives disagree with the Europeans, Europeans kill them. If natives agree with the idea of them, they became slaves. All this happened in the North, South America, Africa, and Australia in many different ways, but everywhere. What a pity. We lost not only many and many men and women, but we lost the way of thinking and the ideas. All of them were in balance with nature, and I'm very affectionate about how women can be in balance with nature. When I was a child, I asked myself what I have to do to be in balance with nature. It's a constant thread of thought in my life. Perhaps now, because of coronavirus, pollution, global warming, being in balance with the nature is become a necessity for humanity, not only for me. What I perceive we change the point of view. I ask this question in my book, and I try to watch world result of Native American and Australian Aborigines.
When you were a child, what was your idea of being in balance with nature? Because you mentioned it. And can you remember what were your early memories about nature and where was the society in relation to it? And how does this view that you take in the book correspond maybe to these ideas and memories?
I was a strange person from as now more. I was 5 years old, and I remember we went to a party and people were throwing plastic plates on the road. I wasn't working. I took a bag and I put all trash into the bag, cleaning the road. Nobody ever told me to do that. When I go down to the beach, I always collect plastic and I put into the bin. I have never picked up a small animal or insect for fear of hurting it because of my dystonic movement. Even I'm not able, I try to climb trees. And first I ask trees if they want that I climb them. I love working in the wood. When I'm in the woods, the first thing I do, I pray and observe every tree. I look for animals only to greet them. And I never felt fear to fall down when I'm in the wood because I feel very proud that wood is my habitat. To protect the protagonist in my book as he died with me. There is a constant dialogue between the protagonist and the nature, as there is a constant dialogue between nature and me. Probably I have the breed, the feeling of my house where a friend. I didn't understand why. Only after a few minutes did I see that there were there was a cat, but I felt despair in my body. All these days, usual for me.
How does this relation with nature influence dance that you make?
Some people say that my way of moving is ours in itself. They say that I dance even when I'm doing nothing because of my voluntary movement, like in this moment. I like very much the system of my technic body because all movement I make become a natural dance in this way. I think it's a fantastic example how an unsolved bubble problem can become a resource in itself. I can ever be in stillness. At the beginning, I hope with this problem. Then, when I realized that it would in any case, I said, okay, I'm like this, I can fight against myself. I must follow my nature. Since then, my relation with nature was born. I met my first girlfriend. She was going to dance, and I became even more attached to nature. I think it's impossible to dance going against nature. When dance teachers speak about floor wide counterbalance, dance, etc., I think that they always speak about them in relation with nature. If we observe how nature moves, how animals move, how plants by wind or by rain, I can be transformed into dance. If we listen to everything around, will be influenced by all of it. Here is the cube of matter. I think if we make ourselves more, if we really listen to everything and not only ourselves, nature and everything around us can influence our dance and our entire way of life. I always to be listening whatever I do. I always try to take a step back, even when I teach dance or theater. I think it is about giving yourself the opportunity to listen to the real secret of being in relationship with nature. In this way, nature can influence our plans and our life. The life is but when it happens, it's incredible.
Now we will switch our roles. Juri will read my questions to him, and I will read his answers to me.
Yes, Saša asked me, how do you see the situation in contemporary dance today, and is normative theater?
Juri said, I think contemporary dance must choose what it wants to be. At this moment, I see that dance is intertwined a lot with theater, with circus arts, with performing arts, with television, internet. It's okay in my opinion, but dance at the moment is a little bit confused. It doesn't know which way to go. In my opinion, it's a big opportunity. I love to overlap many types of arts, but it must not be done just to amaze. Dance is looking for its new form, but sometimes it is making mistakes. When I attend a dance show and I see the audience applauding, even if they don't understand anything, when I see dance shows that are built specifically to keep the audience away from understanding, I think dance is over. Maybe dance has yet to believe that it still has something to say. In my opinion, the time has not yet come to explore no dance planet. Real revolutions are to be taken step by step, to be appreciated. I don't know, it's only my opinion.
I would love more about the decision to turn your autobiography into a fictional historical campus and in relation with the Native American and Australian Aborigine.
And Juri answered, I love when books have multiple reading plans because I think that each book changes according to the reader. I graduated in philosophy, so I use a plot that I know very well. An object can't be without a subject. An object changes according to the subject with which it is related. What does it mean? What did I do with my book? I wrote about my whole life, but only those who know me very well, they can recognize it. I really lived what I wrote, but I changed the context, time, space. I took crucial moments of my life. If you don't know me very well, you would think it's a historical novel or a fantasy novel, but that's not the case. To complicate matters more, I tried to recreate the historical context at the turn of the 18th and 19th centuries, referring to things that really happened in that period in the places where I set the novel. I know it can seem very complicated, but it's very simple in my head.
Saša, ask me which historical events from the time of 18th and 19th century do you refer in your book?
And Juri said, I speak about the conquest of the Far West, the struggles between invaders and natives, the slave trade, the sinking of Essex, and colonization of Australia. Here it is my book contest. I choose Aboriginal Australians contests because I felt myself near to their respect and their way of thinking about life and about world. I would like because of the space and because the idea that singing can create the world simply fascinates me. Native American Indians, in my opinion, not only were in balance with nature, but they had an ancestral knowledge. It was a very simple world, but it was very deep. I love the possibility that deep knowledge can be simple knowledge.
Saša, could you tell me more about this singing can create the I understand it as something that funny fascinates you. But can you tell me a bit more? How do you link it in your book?
Juri said, I was inspired by Bruce Chatwin and Marlo Morgan's writings. At the university, I did an exam of history of religions, which also spoke about the Aboriginal religion. Point in all these traditions is that Aboriginal culture is the culture of singing. Aboriginal Australians sing always. They do not calculate distances with the measure, but with singing. In the Bible, it is written that the world was created by the word of God, and Aborigines say the song of the ancestors created it. All this, in my opinion, is ancestral knowledge and deep knowledge. If we look at it from far, there is something in common. I love differences, but I wonder if there is a common point beyond differences. Dante Alighieri said heaven is the place of singing. When I went to Africa, I noticed people there live singing and dancing. Plato said that the fates tie fate to each man by singing. I put all these suggestions in the book. I like them. I use always many traditions when I speak about something or when I write something.
I would be curious to imagine and speculate about the close future in a similar way to fictionalism as you did in your book. What it could be.
And Juri responded, I like to think that this pandemic crisis is a life lesson, and I hope people will understand something. Many times when I was teaching dance or theater, I talked about need to. Someone wrote to me now saying, you were right. I'm not sure we have yet understood the lesson of this year. We are still looking forward to go back as we were before, as soon as possible, even if nobody liked it as it was before. Human life has been eco-sustainable for millennia, but it is not anymore. Maybe we are all not on the right track. I hope that in the future we realize that we were running too much and we were consuming too much. I hope for clean energy sources and for more humanity.
Saša, how do you imagine that we could slow down? What prevents us in doing so? Is it fear? If yes, fear of what?
In the last 60, 70 years, we don't live anymore. We are only running through life. We run to go to work, we run during working, then we run to gym, then we run for children. Children have to run because they must do 4 or 5 activities after school. After work, we run to play with friends. We eat running because we never have time. We also run with sex, with SMS, email, WhatsApp, Facebook, chat. All is in real time. We never wait for answers because they are always in real time. We move ourselves everywhere in a small time. We are always connecting with the world, but we never connect with ourselves. Sometimes I think that we run without knowing where we are going. I ask many times if we run because we are afraid to stay with ourselves. Sometimes I think people make many commitments for fear of being alone or fear of having to think about their life. We fill life with activity, but we do nothing at the end. It seems to me that we are not able to stay in situation we are living. We are here with the body, but we are always somewhere else with the mind. There is a big risk. We don't live neither here nor there.
Saša asked me if I would like to ask you about how did the pandemic crisis affect you and your artistic practice? How do you deal with this situation? What occupies your body and mind in this time of crisis?
The pandemic crisis has been a big problem for me, Juri said. A theater company had just hired me and we had to stop all the work. I was teaching in many workshops every week. I came back home and I decided to finish my book. Once a week I'm teaching workshop on Zoom, but it is very hard to do theater by Zoom. It's impossible. It's becoming more a way to be together. When I finished correcting my book, I asked myself, and now, what can I do before to become crazy? As usual, I read many, many books, but I can't only read. So I started buying puzzles online, and I spend my days making a 1,000-piece puzzle. It's a way to put in order pieces of the puzzle in my life.
Which puzzle?
One puzzle is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, and the other one is The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. Now I'll compose 2 little angels kissing each other.
Saša asked me, I asked each artist that I could propose a question for the next one. Diana needs to ask how is this isolation different from other isolation you have experienced?
This is a strong question. This isolation is different because you can't choose to be in isolation. You have to stay isolated. It's like a Kantian duty. I think people weigh more because many are like children in an adult body. When you forbid a child to do something, it does it out of spite, to show that it is independent and it does the right things for itself. Rebellion is a way of claiming one's own freedom. Many people craved to stay home, and now they aren't able to do this because they are forced to stay home. Human mind is strange. When you decide to stay in isolation, you can also stop your decision when you want. All this does not depend on us now. I think this is the question now. Good or bad, everyone loves to be in control. This situation has shown that we control little or nothing. I believe this is the problem of many and the cause of their anxieties. Now the battle is taking place between the fear of dying, feeling immune, and desire to feel free. The mass media feed this internal battle, and it is not an easy situation, neither for those who live it, nor for those who manage it.
Saša, what would be your question to the other artists?
And Juri said his question is, what is the purpose of your art and how useful do you think your art is in this pandemic crisis? And how will it be useful in the future?
Yeah, we stop our conversation.
Yes, we stop our conversation here. Thank you, Juri, for the last 2 weeks and exchange. And thank you for creating this text together. And I'm happy that we shared it with the others who are watching and listening to us. And your question I will bring to the next artist and next week. And also we leave this question also for everyone who is watching and listening, for them to think about it and find their own answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we keep in touch.
Yes.
Bye.
Why you want